Passengers froze in place as the black and tan German Shepherd suddenly lunged toward the plane. Blue Suitcase sliding off the conveyor belt. His teeth were bared, his bark sharp enough to crack the airport's busy hum in half. Travelers stumbled back, fear rippling across the security line while the dog's handler tried and failed to pull him away. Coda wasn't reacting like he'd found a bomb or drugs. This was different. This was frantic. Desperate, I share news stories here every day, and I would really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and liked my video. Now let's jump back into my story. I'm sure you'll love it if you keep listening till the end. Officer, Adrian Cole felt his pulse rise as Coda scratched viciously at the suitcase. Whining between barks like something inside was running out of time. Harris sprinted over from the second security lane. What's he reacting to? Harris barked out. Adrian shook his head. Not explosives. He'd freeze for bombs. This is something else. Coda's claws dragged across the suitcase zipper, frantic, insistent, almost pleading. Lane hit the emergency pause on the conveyor belt. The airport lights flickered red as metal security partitions slammed shut. Officers redirected passengers backward, clearing a wide perimeter around the mysterious blue suitcase. Adrian crouched, placing a calming hand on Coda's trembling back. Easy, boy, easy. But the dog only barked louder. His body shook from more than adrenaline. It was fear. The suitcase thudded heavily when Lane lifted it onto the inspection table. It's heavier than it looks, she muttered, voice shaking. Coda circled the table in tight. Frantic loops, nose pressed against every seam, tail stiff with distress. The dog gave one sharp hip twine, the same sound he made when locating trapped survivors during disaster rescues. Adrian's stomach dropped. He thinks there's someone inside. A collective breath stopped. Even the passengers behind the security line fell silent. Lane swallowed. We need the bomb squad. No, Adrian said firmly. If we wait, whatever's inside won't make it. Coda pawed hard at the table, nearly tipping the suitcase over. Open it, Adrian repeated. Now, the supervisor hesitated only a second before nodding. Get protective gear. Everyone stepped back. Lane lifted the zipper with shaking hands. Ziip. The sound sliced through the terminal. The top opened, and the world seemed to collapse into silence inside. Squeezed into a fetal position, wrapped in a tiny pink blanket, was a little girl. Barely 2 years old, pale, unmoving, weak breaths escaping like fading whispers. Oh my God. Lane breathed, hands flying to her mouth. A baby. Passengers gasped. Someone screamed. Cameras flew up. Adrian lunged forward. She's alive, get medics now. The toddler's tiny fingers twitched, then fell limp. Coda leaped onto the table, placing his nose gently against her cheek. A soft, trembling whine escaped him, a sound of recognition. Sorrow. Urgency. Lane cradled the child carefully and sprinted toward the emergency exit. Paramedics rushed in seconds later. Laying the little girl on a stretcher, oxygen mask pressed over her face. Her breaths were shallow, weak, fading. Coda paced beside the stretcher, tail low, ears pinned back. Pulse is weak. The medic said sharply. She's dehydrated and hypothermic. Adrian felt his throat tighten. Will she make it? We need to move, the medic snapped. Now? As the stretcher rolled toward the ambulance, the girl's fingers twitched again, just barely. Coda barked once, sharply, as if calling her back. The medic leaned over. Good sign. Let's go. The ambulance roared away. Adrian placed a hand on Coda's neck. You found her, buddy. You saved her. But the relief didn't last, because now a darker question hung over them like a storm. Who put a child in a suitcase? The hospital room felt impossibly quiet, the kind of silence that made every heartbeat sound loud. Little Mia lay wrapped in warm blankets, oxygen mask fitted gently over her tiny face. Her chest rose and fell in slow, uneven breaths. Officer Adrian Cole stood just inside the doorway with Coda beside him. The dog refused to sit. His eyes were locked on the child, waiting, listening. A nurse checked Mia's vitals. "She's stabilizing," she whispered. "But she's exhausted. Whatever she went through." It was days without food, water, or proper air. Adrian exhaled shakily. Thank God Coda found her. The shepherd stepped closer to the bed. His nose nudged the blanket. A soft whimper slipped from his throat, and then a tiny sound responded. Mia shifted, her little fingers curled. Her lips trembled. Her eyes fluttered open, glassy, unfocused, till they landed on Coda. Doggy," she whispered. Adrian felt emotion climb into his chest. Coda carefully rested his head on the bed, inviting her touch. Mia's fingers brushed his fur. Almost instantly, her breathing steadied. As if she recognized him as the only familiar anchor in the chaos she had survived. Adrian whispered, "You're safe now, sweetheart." But Mia's next whisper chilled him. "Mommy? Where Mommy?" Before he could answer, the door burst open. A woman stumbled inside, her breaths sharp and broken. Sarah Park, Mia's mother. Her face was soaked in tears, her hair messy from days of sleepless searching. "Mia," she screamed. Coda backed up gently as Sarah rushed to the bed, dropping to her knees. She scooped her daughter into her arms, sobbing so hard her entire body trembled. "Mia, my baby, I'm here. I'm here." Mia clung to her with frail fingers. "Mommy, you came." Sarah kissed her cheeks, forehead, hair over and over. Adrian stepped back, giving them space, though his own eyes stung. Coda sat at Sarah's feet, watching protectively. After long minutes of crying, Sarah finally looked up at Adrian. "Thank you. All of you. If you hadn't found her, if your dog hadn't," her voice cracked. "Coda knew," Adrian said softly. "He wouldn't stop until we opened that suitcase." Sarah bent down and kissed the dog between his ears. "You saved my baby. You saved me." Coda wagged his tail, gently humble, quiet. But the moment of peace didn't last. Hours later, back at the precinct, the entire security team gathered around the surveillance screens again. The grainy airport footage replayed the hooded woman dropping the suitcase, glancing over her shoulder, hurrying away. Officer Lane frowned. Zoom in on her face. The technician enhanced the footage. A woman's features appeared: sharp cheekbones, hollow eyes, hair half hidden under the hood. Officer Harris whispered, "That's Rachel Mills." Adrian's breath caught. Sarah's estranged sister. The one who'd fought for custody in court. The one who disappeared months ago with a history of unstable behavior. Lane pulled up Rachel's old record. She believed Mia belonged to her. She's obsessed. Harris tapped another camera feed. Look, she wasn't alone. Another figure walked near her in a different angle, shorter, gloved, moving carefully. "This was planned," Lane said. "Not random." Coda suddenly lifted his head. His ears pricked, nose twitching as the video played. When Rachel stepped into frame again, he let out a low, alert whine. "He remembers her scent," Adrian murmured. "He can track her." Minutes later, the team spread out across the airport parking structure. Adrian held Coda's leash loosely. "Coda, find her." The dog took off with purpose, nose to the ground, weaving through parked cars. His pace quickened. His tail stiffened. Then he stopped, dead still. A low growl rumbled in his chest. As he stared at a car in the far corner of the garage, its windows fogged from the inside. Adrian drew his weapon. Rachel Mills. Step out of the vehicle. Silence. Then the back door cracked open. Rachel stepped out, shaking, wild-eyed. Her fingers clutched a photo of Mia like a talisman. "She's mine," she rasped. "She was always mine." "No," Adrian snapped. "You nearly killed her." Rachel stepped back, panicked, reaching for the car door again, but Coda moved first. He leaped not to attack but to block her escape. Planting his body in front of the door, Adrian seized the moment. Grabbing Rachel's arm and pinning her to the car, "It's over." Rachel sagged, defeated as handcuffs clicked around her wrists. Later that night, Adrian brought Coda back to the hospital. Mia sat awake in her mother's lap, smiling sleepily. When she saw the dog, she reached both arms out. "Doggy." Coda walked forward and rested his head on her tiny chest, as gentle as a whisper. She giggled. Sarah smiled through tears. "He's her hero." Adrian nodded, placing a hand on Coda's back. "He saved a life today." Mia pressed her cheek against Coda's fur and whispered, "Bye-bye, Dougie," as they left. Walking down the hallway, Adrian whispered, "Good work today, partner." And Coda pressed closer, loyal as ever, a dog who refused to let innocence be lost.